The unthinkable has happened. In a shocking twist that nobody saw coming, Cameron has stepped forward and exposed what he claims is Chrissy Lampkin's darkest secret. The revelation shook the internet overnight, leaving fans stunned and Jim Jones caught in the middle of an explosive storm. But instead of defending Chrissy, instead of firing back at Cameron, Jim Jones stayed completely silent, and that silence has raised more questions than answers. What exactly did Cam reveal? Why did Jim walk away without a word? And could this bombshell finally destroy one of hip-hop's most infamous love stories? The hip-hop world thrives on drama, but sometimes a revelation cuts so deep that it shakes the entire culture. That's exactly what happened when Cameron, Dipset's own Harlem icon, Jim Jones' brother-in-arms turned frenemy, decided to drag Chrissy Lampkin's name through the mud with a stunning claim about her past. For years, Chrissy has been known as Jim Jones' ride or die, the strong woman who stood by his side through the chaos of fame, business struggles, and never-ending relationship drama. From love and hip-hop to tabloid headlines, Chrissy has carried herself as someone fiercely loyal, protective, and grounded. Fans often credited her with keeping Jim balanced, reminding him what loyalty really means in an industry where temptation lurks around every corner. But according to Cameron, there's another side of Chrissy. It's a darker side. It all started during an Instagram Live where Cam was joking with fans, answering questions, and doing what he does best, mixing humor with a little bit of shade. But then the conversation turned to Jim Jones, and that's when things took a shocking turn. With a smirk, Cam leaned into the camera and said, "Y'all don't even know the half. Chrissy ain't who she pretends to be. I know her history. I know what she was out here doing before Jimmy put that ring on her finger. He knows too. He just don't want to talk about it." The internet exploded. In seconds, clips of Cam's comments went viral. Fans flooded Twitter with questions and theories. What does Cameron know about Chrissy's past? Is he talking about cheating? Is it about money? Or something criminal? The ambiguity of his statement left fans speculating wildly. And in today's digital age, speculation spreads faster than fact. Some blogs quickly resurfaced old rumors. About Chrissy's early years, there have long been whispers that before meeting Jim, Chrissy was romantically linked to other men in the industry. Powerful men, rich men, and even rival rappers. While Chrissy herself never confirmed or denied those rumors, they circulated heavily in New York gossip circles for decades. By bringing them back up, Cam had reopened a wound that many thought was long buried. But here's where things got even more shocking. Jim Jones didn't say a word. Normally, when someone comes for Chrissy, Jim is the first to step in, defend her honor, and clap back. Their relationship, messy as it may be, has always been defined by loyalty. But this time, silence. No Instagram post, no interview response, no subliminal tweets, nothing. Jim's silence spoke louder than any denial. Ever could. Fans picked up on it immediately. Why Jim so quiet? That's his woman. He's supposed to check Cam. Another wrote, if it wasn't true, Jim would have been the first one to clap back. His silence says it all. The speculation only grew when Jim appeared in public days. Later, at a Harlem event, photographers captured him walking in with Dipset affiliates, his face stone cold, refusing to answer reporters' questions about Cam's comments. When asked directly about Chrissy, Jim simply walked away in silence. That moment quickly went viral with the headline, "Jim Jones leaves in silence after Cameron exposes Chrissy." This wasn't just gossip anymore, it had become a full-blown scandal. Fans and critics alike began to wonder, what exactly did Cam mean by Chrissy's dark past? Was it just another case of him stirring the pot to embarrass Jim? Or did he really know something concrete that could shatter their relationship for good? To make matters worse, Cam doubled down days later in another post where he cryptically wrote, "The truth always comes out. Don't ask me to keep quiet no more." didn't tag Jim or Chrissy, but everyone knew exactly who he was talking about, and again, silence from Jim. That silence, more than Cam's words, became the story, because in hip-hop culture, silence is often seen as admission. If something isn't true, you deny it, you laugh it off, you fire back. But by saying nothing, Jim left the door wide open for people to assume the worst. The timing of it all couldn't be worse either. Jim and Chrissy have already been under pressure, with rumors of tension. Chrissy allegedly filing for divorce, and Jim's tearful breakdown on Instagram Live still fresh in everyone's memory. For Cam to come forward now with these claims feels like pouring gasoline on a fire that was already raging. The fan reactions have been intense. On one side, you have those who believe Cam is just being petty, using old gossip to get under Jim's skin because of their long, complicated history. Dipset fans know Cam and Jim's relationship has always been rocky, with years of brotherhood mixed with betrayal, business disputes, and public shade. To them, this is just Cam doing what Cam does best. But on the other side, there are fans who think Cam wouldn't risk his credibility by making such a bold claim unless there was some truth behind it. Cam, don't just talk for no reason, one Twitter user wrote. He said Chrissy got a dark past, then she'll probably do. He was outside back then. He saw it all. And then there's Chrissy, caught in the middle. Unlike Jim, she hasn't responded directly either. Her Instagram remains business as usual, fashion posts, lifestyle updates, and curated glimpses into her world. But her silence hasn't stopped the speculation. Some see it as strength, refusing to dignify the rumors with a response. Others see it as avoidance, suggesting that maybe she doesn't want to stir up even more attention on the topic. Either way, the silence on both sides has only amplified Cam's words by the end of the week. The story had taken over blogs, gossip pages, and YouTube channels. Headlines screamed about Chrissy's alleged past, Jim's silence, and Dipset's family feud. For fans, it felt like history repeating itself. Another chapter in the never-ending drama between Cameron and Jim Jones. But this time, Chrissy was the one caught in the crossfire. Part 1 ends here, with Cam dropping the bomb, the internet running wild with speculation, and Jim Jones leaving in silence. But if this is just the beginning, the bigger question is why now? Why would Cam bring up Chrissy's past at this exact moment? And what does it reveal about his complicated relationship with Jim Jones? When Cameron decided to bring up Chrissy, Lampkin's so-called dark past, it wasn't just random gossip, it was the latest chapter in a long, messy, complicated history between him and Jim Jones, two outsiders. The two were once inseparable, brothers who grew up together in Harlem and built an empire with Dipset. But for those who've been following closely, their bond has always been a roller coaster full of highs, lows, betrayals, reconciliations, and unfinished business. So to understand why Cam would target Chrissy now, you have to look at the history of Cam and Jim's relationship. Back in the early 2000s, Dipset wasn't just a rap group, was a movement. With Cameron leading the charge, Jim Jones, Joel Santana, and Freaky Zeke turned Harlem into a cultural epicenter. The pink furs, the flashy chains, the slang, the swagger, they influenced an entire generation. Jim and Cam were more than just business partners. They were brothers in every sense. Cam even gave Jim his start in the rap game, teaching him the ropes and putting him in the spotlight. But with fame and money came cracks in the foundation. Jim, who started out more as Cam's hype man, began to carve his own lane, dropping hits like We Fly High and Ballin'. Suddenly, Jim wasn't just Cam's right-hand man, he was a star in his own right. And with that success came tension. Behind the scenes, there were power struggles, disagreements over money, and growing egos. At one point, Cam and Jim weren't even speaking. Their brotherhood turned cold, and fans watched as Dipset's unity crumbled. Public shots were fired, subliminal bars were exchanged, and interviews got messy. Even though they eventually reunited on stage years later, The scars never fully healed, which brings us back to now. Cam calling out. Chrissy isn't just about hurts about Jim. It's about old wounds that never closed, and it's about Cam knowing exactly where to hit Jim where it hurts most. Because if there's one thing everyone knows about Jim Jones, it's that Chrissy Lampkin is his heart. She's been his foundation for decades. By throwing dirt on her name, Cam is essentially shaking the very core of Jim's world, and fans know it. Many believe Cam's decision to expose Chrissy's alleged past has less to do with Chrissy herself, and everything to do with this complicated, sometimes toxic brotherhood with Jim. One fan put it perfectly on Twitter. Cam knows the only way to get under Jim's skin is through Chrissy. That's why he did it. But this isn't the first time Chrissy has been dragged into Dipset's inner circle drama. During the earlier beefs between Cam and Jim, Chrissy's loyalty was often questioned. Not because she wasn't loyal to Jim, but because her presence made her an easy target. She was outspoken, fiery, and unafraid to stand up for her manabin against his own friends. And in a world where loyalty and respect mean everything, that rubbed some people the wrong way. Cam, in particular, has always had a complicated relationship with Chrissy. While he respected her role in Jim's life, there were whispers of tension behind closed doors, arguments, disagreements, and moments where Chrissy's influence on Jim created friction within Dipset. By exposing her now, Cam is essentially reopening those old wounds and reminding everyone of that history. But here's what makes this situation even more layered. Cam and Jim had seemingly buried the hatchet in recent years. They reunited on stage, did shows together, and even rekindled their public friendship. To see Cam now go after Chrissy feels like betrayal all over again. Fans are asking, was their reunion fake? Did Cam always harbor resentment, just waiting for the right moment to strike? The timing of Cam's comments only adds fuel to the fire. Jim and Chrissy's relationship is already under a microscope with rumors of divorce, Jim's emotional breakdown on Instagram Live, and endless debates about whether Chrissy wasted years waiting for commitment. For Cam to drop this bomb now feels calculated, almost like he wanted to kick Jim while he was already down. And that's what makes Jim's silence so deafening. Normally, when Cam and Jim clash, it gets loud public statements, interviews, diss tracks. But this time, Jim has chosen to say nothing. No clapback, no defense, just silence. And that silence is what has fans most concerned. Some interpret it as guilt, that maybe what Cam is saying has truth to it. Others see it as defeat, as if Jim doesn't even have the energy to fight back anymore. The media, of course, has spun it every which way. Some blogs claim Cam is exposing Chrissy's alleged ties to other men in the industry before Jim. Others hint at financial dealings or personal choices Chrissy made in her younger years. None of it has been proven, but the mere suggestion is enough to create chaos, and Cam knows that. He knows in the world of gossip, the rumor itself is more powerful than the truth. Meanwhile, Chrissy's silence only deepens the mystery. For years, she's been vocal about defending herself and her relationship. But now, as her name trends across social media for all the wrong reasons, she's chosen not to respond. To some, this is the ultimate show of strength, refusing to engage in drama. To others, it looks like avoidance. Either way, it leaves fans hungry for answers. Dipset loyalists, too, are torn. Many blame Cam for going too far, saying family business should stay in the family. Others argue that Jim's silence proves Cam was telling the truth, and that maybe Jim has been protecting Chrissy all these years. The debates are heated, and they've reignited old conversations about loyalty, respect, and betrayal in hip-hop. Part 2 ends here with the spotlight not just on Chrissy, but on the complicated brotherhood between Cam, Ron, and Jim Jones. What was once one of the tightest bonds in hip-hop has turned into a decades-long saga of beef, reconciliation, And now, another betrayal. But the real question is, what happens next? How will this revelation impact Jim and Chrissy's already fragile relationship? And can Jim's silence really protect Chrissy, or does it only make the scandal bigger? The fallout from Cameron's explosive comments about Chrissy Lampkin has become more than just a passing scandal. It's transformed into one of the biggest talking points in hip-hop gossip culture. What started as a sly remark during an Instagram live has spiraled into a full-blown media circus. With Chrissy's reputation, Jim Jones' loyalty, and Cameron's motives all under heavy scrutiny, the silence from both Jim and Chrissy has left fans restless. In a world where everyone claps back instantly, their refusal to address the situation feels almost eerie. And yet, that silence is what has kept this story alive, fueling endless speculation. On one side, fans see Jim's silence as heartbreaking. They argue that it's proof he's stuck between protecting Chrissy from more public humiliation and confronting the ugly possibility that Cam's words may hold some truth. One viral tweet summed it up. Jim's silence says everything. He either knows the truth and can't face it, or he's too broken to fight anymore. On the other side, Chrissy's silence has people divided. Some applaud her strength, praising her for not lowering herself to Cam's level. Others see it as suspicious, suggesting that maybe she has something to hide. Either way, her refusal to respond has only added to the storm. Meanwhile, Cameron has continued fanning the flames. Without directly mentioning Jim or Chrissy, he's posted cryptic messages about truth, loyalty, and history. His sly grin and mocking tone in recent videos haven't gone unnoticed. To many, it's clear he's enjoying the chaos, watching the internet unravel over his words. For others, it's proof that Cam is driven not by honesty, but by revenge. But why revenge? To answer that, you have to look deeper into Cam and Jim's fractured brotherhood. Even after their public reunion, sources close to the two have hinted that tension never fully disappeared. Old wounds were never truly healed, and mistrust lingered beneath the surface. Cam may have felt betrayed by decisions Jim made in business, in loyalty, or even in personal life. By going after Chrissy, he's not just airing old gossip, he's hitting Jim where it hurts most. In the one place he's most vulnerable, his family. And let's not forget, Chrissy herself has always been a lightning rod for controversy. Long before Cam's latest bombshell, fans debated her role in Jim's career and personal life. Some say she's the reason Jim has stayed grounded, crediting her with keeping him from going completely off the rails. Others argue she's been holding him back, keeping him wrapped in drama instead of allowing him to reach his full potential. For Cam to target her now reignites all those conversations. The blogs, of course, are having a field day. Headlines like "Chrissy's past comes back to haunt her" and "Jim Jones breaks his silence with silence" dominate gossip outlets. YouTubers dissect every clip, every photo, and every old rumor about Chrissy's life before Jim. And while no concrete proof has surfaced, the power of suggestion has been more than enough to tarnish Chrissy's image. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this entire saga is Jim Jones himself. Fans have noticed his demeanor shift in recent appearances. Once the fiery, outspoken Dipset general, Jim now carries a weight of exhaustion. At events, he avoids questions, keeps his head down, and walks away in silence. That silence has become his shield, but also his prison. By refusing to speak, he avoids fanning the flames. But by not defending Chrissy, he leaves her vulnerable to public attack. It's a lose-lose situation. If Jim speaks up, he risks dragging Chrissy deeper into the drama and reigniting an all-out war with Cam. If he stays silent, he looks complicit, weak, or broken. Either way, his reputation takes a hit. And Chrissy, she stands at the center of it all. Her decades-long relationship with Jim tested in ways fans have never seen before. For years, she fought for Jim's love, for a ring, for public recognition of their bond. Now, she faces a different battle, the battle of perception. The whispers about her past, once buried, are louder than ever. And even if they're untrue, the damage to her image may be permanent. So where does this leave the once unbreakable bond of Dipset? Cam and Jim's relationship has always been a roller coaster, but this time feels different. By going after Chrissy, Cam crossed a line that may be impossible to come back from. Family isn't just blood, it's the people you choose to protect. And by attacking Jim's family, Cam may have destroyed any chance at reconciliation. The fans, though, remain divided. Some beg for Jim and Cam to squash the beef once and for all, to rise above petty drama and honor the brotherhood that once defined an era. Others believe the damage is done, that some wounds cut too deep, and that silence may be the only answer left. Part 3 closes on this haunting reality. Jim Jones, once the loudest defender of his woman, now silent in the face of scandal. Chrissy, Lampkin, once admired for her fiery loyalty, now questioned for a past she may or may not have lived. And Cameron, once Jim's brother, now the man who set fire to it all with a single smirk and a few cryptic words. This is more than just a scandal. This is the unraveling of trust, the breaking of bonds, and the reminder that in hip-hop, loyalty is everything, and betrayal is forever. The final question remains, will Jim Jones ever break his silence? Or has his silence already said it all? This story isn't just about gossip. It's about loyalty, betrayal, and the painful silence that speaks louder than words. Chrissy Lampkin, once celebrated as the backbone of Jim Jones' world, now finds her past dragged into the spotlight. Cameron, once his brother, chose to aim his shots where it hurts most, and Jim's refusal to speak has only deepened the mystery. Is his silence an act of protection, or a sign of truth he can't bear? Two-Face. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Cameron crossed the line by exposing Chrissy's alleged past? Or was he simply speaking the truth everyone was too afraid to say? Should Jim Jones finally defend Chrissy and put an end to the speculation? Or is his silence the only way to keep the peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story is far from over. And if you want to stay locked in on every twist, every secret, every shocking moment in hip-hop culture, make sure to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because the drama never sleeps, and neither do we. This is only the beginning.